Future Trunks, flashing onto the scene out of nowhere, taking out the most prolific villain in Dragon Ball history, soon becoming one of the most popular characters in the entire series. However, with a saga that includes moments such as this, I often felt as though a particular relationship dynamic was largely kept out of the spotlight. So, as I often do, I decided to go to my Twitter to ask my followers what they thought, asking the question, which of these was your favorite relationship in Dragon Ball's Cell arc? I provided 3 options to choose from, and with over 2,000 votes cast, the clear winner was Gohan and Goku. And while I think there are definitely a lot of aspects to love about the relationship and interactions during this part of the story, today I want to bring attention to and focus on what I believe is one of the most underrated, fantastic, and believable relationships ever told in Dragon Ball. I want to take an in-depth look at how Trunks and his scenes were written to achieve an emotional connection with the audience, to explore how the supporting characters played a role in reinforcing this relationship, and to explain how a father and son dynamic built one of the most realistic and cathartic relationships in the show's history. This is Future Trunks, the wounded character. In storytelling, what makes a character and story interesting is largely the conflict. According to K.M. Weiland's book, Creating Character Arcs, there are 4 aspects that make up the arc and the conflict in a character's mind. These are the lie that they believe, the thing they want, the thing they need, and the wound. To begin our dissection of Trunks' character, I think it's important we first understand the storytelling term, wound. According to author K.M. Weiland, wound is movie speak for something in your character's past that haunts him. Often the wound will be something shocking and traumatic. This wound from a traumatic event typically causes or is connected to the lie the character believes, which is the harboring of some deeply held misconception the character either believes about themselves, the world, or both. In other words, the character's wound often goes hand in hand with the lie that they believe and need to overcome over the course of the story. For example, in the case of Marvel's Spider-Man Homecoming, Peter's wound is his Uncle Ben's murder. It's something he blames himself for, something that drives him throughout the story's runtime and continues to do so today. At the same time, the lie that he believes is that he needs the suit to be Spider-Man, that in order to be a hero, he needs that special suit Tony Stark provided for him. To which Tony Stark responds,
"If you're nothing without this suit, then you shouldn't have it, okay?"
In this one scene, Peter's desire to help others is demonstrated. His wound, Uncle Ben's death, motivating him, but at the same time it's made evident through his own words that he doesn't fully believe in himself, which is the lie his character believes. In the case of Trunks, during his unveiling he comes off as a confident and capable fighter, breezing through the largest foe the series has seen in an instant with a smirk on his face. However, shortly after, we soon find out that he isn't as sure-footed as he initially appeared. We eventually learn that Trunks comes from an alternate future where everyone but himself, Bulma, and a few others have died. The individuals responsible? The androids. Despicable cyborgs responsible for taking Trunks' only father figure away from him, Gohan. This is Trunks' wound. Trunks blames himself for Gohan's death in his timeline. If he had been stronger, if he had been better, maybe he could have saved him. As a result of this trauma, the lie Trunks now believes is that he needs someone else to save his timeline for him. He needs help. Additionally, he deeply desires to meet and build a relationship of some form with the father he never had a chance to meet. Which leads me nicely into what I believe was Trunks' most important play in the series, his interactions with a certain character.
貴様ら痛みを感じないんだろう。ラッキーだったな。
Vegeta's wound or traumatic life-changing event was his planet's destruction and his upbringing under Frieza. He was raised to believe that strength was all that mattered and that he was destined to be the strongest Saiyan. However, when he finds out that that isn't the case, suddenly becoming stronger and demonstrating his superiority becomes the only thing that occupies his mind. Vegeta now thinks that the only thing worth pursuing is power. That is the lie that Vegeta believes, and he puts up a strong guard against those that suggest otherwise. However, in Trunks' first conversation with Goku before leaving to the past, he comments that Vegeta looks lonely and informs Goku that that was what made Bulma interact with him in the first place. She had sympathy for Vegeta. But that's not to say Trunks is perfect either.
無茶だ。あなた一人でみすみす死にに行くようなものです。
This is a terrific example of character values in conflict. In John Truby's book, The Anatomy of Story, he writes, "Identify a set of values for your hero and each of the other main characters. Make each set of values as different from the others as possible. As your hero and his opponents fight over the goal, make sure their values come into direct conflict." In other words, establish the theme of your story, set the main goal for all the characters to aim for, and give all the characters pushing towards that goal different values. In the case of Trunks and Vegeta in this instance, they are working towards the same goal but have vastly different ideas of what they think it takes to achieve that goal. When the androids are woken up, Trunks unleashes a massive blast without warning, after which Vegeta remarks that that was an entirely pointless effort, which it was. Trunks believes that the androids are too monstrous and that they shouldn't even try. He's ruled by fear and vengeance, clouding his judgment, leading to poor decisions being made. Vegeta, on the other side of the coin, thinks that nothing can be greater than he is, and that if they are that strong, he should still be the one to face them anyway. These actions are motivated by the wounds both characters have endured in their pasts, resulting in them both living out the lies that they hold to be true. Trunks, ruled by fear of loss and destruction, deems it impossible to win without help, and Vegeta, believing only he can do it, refusing any help. However, something happens. During Vegeta's fight with 18, Trunks remarks, "I never knew my father was so powerful. He's holding his own against those androids." Androids, we later find out, are tougher than those in Trunks' timeline. Trunks underestimates what he and others are capable of because of his fear and experiences. However, by that same token, Vegeta overestimates what he is capable of, casting aside the notion of ever working as part of a team. It's worth mentioning at this point that Trunks was correct in his estimations of the androids. That alone, Vegeta was no match for 18 once his stamina was drained. However, his estimation of what a Saiyan is capable of was skewed by fear, and when faced with another father figure down one arm, on the brink of death, Trunks acts on emotion, making matters worse by including Android 17. Trunks is naive, but he doesn't know it yet. Vegeta makes a lot of mistakes, but he never makes the mistake of underestimating what he is capable of. As mentioned by both Piccolo and Goku in this arc, Vegeta is a fighting genius, demonstrating a mental toughness and resilience that Trunks is sorely lacking, perfectly shown by their first reactions to the inside of the time chamber, with Trunks distraught and Vegeta delighted. Due to the trauma of Trunks' past and his belief that he needs help to succeed, he can't clearly take stock of what he is capable of, when that is all that Vegeta can see clearly about himself. Now, locked in a room together, Vegeta is forced to share a space with his son, and Trunks is forced to challenge his limits in ways he never thought possible. The lies they tell themselves are almost perfect opposites. Trunks wants group cooperation but doesn't believe in himself. Vegeta believes only in himself and wants nothing to do with teamwork. Both of their lies are in direct conflict, and as a result, they force each other to change. The positive change arc sees the protagonist start out with varying degrees of denial and suffering. As the story progresses, he's forced to challenge his beliefs about both himself and the world around him until finally overcoming these inner demons, changing for the better. Vegeta realizes in this moment that he does care about other people. He cares about his son. Despite being uncaring and unkind in the past, he dashes in to avenge his son in the same careless manner Trunks did against Android 18. This was not a smart move, one Vegeta apologizes for moments later. However, to complete his arc for this saga, he works as part of a team to defeat Cell alongside Gohan, playing the supporting role. Thanks to Trunks, Vegeta, whether he wants to admit it now or not, cares and has grown as a character for the better. Trunks, once revived, after all he has experienced through his time with the main cast, has overcome his internal struggle too. He now believes that he has what it takes to protect his future. Again, this is similar to the plot of Spider-Man Homecoming. As Peter is seen being crushed beneath a large and very heavy object, he cries out for help, but no one answers. Through his struggles in the film, he realizes that the help Tony gave him didn't make him Spider-Man. He is, and always has been, Spider-Man, and people are depending on him. Peter, rising to the occasion, utilizing his wound as a motivation to overcome his lie, results in one of the most moving and inspirational moments of the film. In that same way, Vegeta and the rest of the supporting cast help motivate and improve Trunks to the point where he no longer needs help. He can take care of his world alone. He always had that ability or potential in him, he just couldn't see it. He is no longer a boy, he is now a man. There are tons of famous father and son stories in fiction, where both characters address their shortcomings and ultimately challenge each other to be better in ways they would never have been able to do alone. Having given myself the time to reflect upon the story that was told between these two characters through this lens, I now see and better understand how important this aspect of the narrative was in creating the moments we all loved and appreciated on the surface. Thanks to the addition of Trunks, the past traumas of both himself and Vegeta were exposed and challenged for the better, ultimately forcing each other to heal from their past traumas, to relinquish their lies they believed, and to adopt a new truth moving forward. This relationship is a complex tale, full of innocence, hope, pride, and ultimately catharsis. And it's thanks to this father and son story we've learned that in order to heal, you need to call attention to and address the wounded characters. Thanks for watching.